Hello, everybody. Hope all of you are doing well. This is Bala here. I'm so excited to come back to you with the Runners with a podcast with Runners series, restarting that series for this season, for season 7. Those of you who are hearing this for the first time, let me give you some context before allowing and introducing our wonderful guests for the week. So, we started this series, Podcast with Runners, the idea being peer-to-peer learning is a lot more powerful than just getting learning from, say, coach to the runners. So we started off the series 3-4 seasons ago, where myself and my friend GV Ganesh, we take an opportunity to talk to runners, understand who they are as a human being first, then understand their motivations behind running, and how was their experience in their season, and maybe also get into their head during their race day, and also get some thoughts and comments and words of wisdom from them. And trust me, this has always been the most enjoyable thing for me to do, because it's always fun to reminisce the season. And after spending 16 close weeks together with these runners, it's always great to go back with them and talk about their experiences from a different point of view. And so it's always fun to do this and present to you the first set of Iron Ladies to all of you. So without further ado, let me welcome these special guests to the show. Welcome, ladies. And why don't we start off with a round of introduction, and then we can go from there. Please go ahead, guest one.
Hi guys, this is Shubha Ramaswamy. This is my second season with Runners with Bala. Just to give you a little bit of introduction, I'm from the south of India in Karnataka, a little town called Shimoga. I'm an engineer by background, went to do my engineering in Mysore, and my husband is physician by profession, but we are childhood sweethearts. Came to this country about 25 years ago. But I was nowhere close to being an athlete at all, or anything close to that. I think the one thing I did was yoga, but that's that. So fast forward 25 years later, I worked in IT for a number of years, and now I'm home, kind of helping my husband, and now I'm into all things fitness. Started playing tennis about 10 years ago. Love playing tennis. I also do a little bit of South Indian classical music as well. Blessed with 2 kids. My older one is a sophomore in University of Michigan. Younger one is a sophomore. Both are very active. Both are dancers. My daughter is also a tennis player. My husband has been running longer than I. So that was definitely an introduction to running, but and also brought us together, having a common sport. That's what my background.
That's amazing. Mysore, University of Mysore. Trust me, there are some folks with the University of Mysore in this
Yes.
group.
Yes, I know that.
Very nice.
And actually, when I heard the first podcast, that was with Sapna Mysore, and shout out to Sapna. I'm like, oh, Mysore. So that's nice. I'm glad to see a fellow Mysorean on the club.
I know, it's always so beautiful. Connections happens, in this way. It's fantastic. And also, Dr. Shubha talked about her husband, Dr. Ramaswamy. I mean, he's one special runner that I must tell you. He was there last season. First time he's doing a half marathon. There are some folks who are gifted, naturally gifted to doing a few things, right? Like, there are predisposed to doing some things. And I feel Dr. Ramaswamy is predisposed to running. The reason is he just did his first half marathon with us last season. And boy, he just broke a 2 as if it was just his right of way. He just
he did
2-hour run. And that's just amazing, blistering start. I don't know many people who start their half marathon journey by breaking it too. And that too, he's not like a teenager or somebody. So, even then he's
a little older than that, Bala. Little
older. Doesn't look that much older though. Kudos to you, doctor. So, and he's now going for full marathon. I mean, that's just like Coach Srivatsan is like that. He started off with a blistering, he started off with a half marathon and he said that somewhere in the middle, he said, I think this is too small for me. Let me start off with a full marathon. So his first race itself was a full marathon.
Oh, wow.
So there are some guys like that who really inspire all of us. So thanks, Shubha, for coming and giving us that introduction. So let's invite the next guest.
So, hello everyone. This is Shilpa Matkar. This is my third season with Runners High with Bala. And I'm originally from Mumbai, a suburb of Mumbai. I have a master's degree in chemistry, and from Mumbai University, and then I came to US in the year 2000 to get my master's in Missouri, from Missouri. In 2003, I started working in a pharmaceutical company called Sharing Plow, which finally got bought out by Merck. So I've been in the same company for all this time. I worked there as a scientist. And about my athletic background, I think I've been active most of my childhood, playing cricket with my fellow friends. In school, I used to play kho and throw ball, so mostly group sports, not really individual sport. And uh, even when I started working, I s- I was still active for 4 to 5 days a week, by doing different things, just to kill boredom, not to stay fit, but just to kill boredom. um, so during my masters, I met my future husband Anand. He has joined our group this season. He also got inspired by me and decided to give it a shot.
One
And I
of
think he's training pretty
one
well.
of the many folks who got inspired by you, Shilpa. So
Thanks. And I have a daughter. She's 13 years old, and she's currently doing her third season in this group. She's already run 2 10Ks so far. Yep. So that's my background.
it's a running family audience. This is another example of a running family, and I've in one of my podcasts earlier, or a weekend message earlier, I talked about how in this RHWB universe, the percentage of runners who are women, in the first season, it was 80%. And then it went down to 60, 75, 60, and now it is 50-50. This is the lowest or the highest for men. And the reason for that, it's not because women became less active. It is the other way around. Women inspired their family. I've seen maybe a good 20, 30, 40 families. Women came first, and then they inspired the men in the house. I think it's, and that story has played out again and again and again in RHWB. And that just shows you the power of inspiration women can do for running. And the US average for is actually 55% women, 45% men. That's the US average. And I think our women have done better than that in inspiring the men of their house. And I was talking to the Anand, for instance, when he was about to come in, he was like, man, I couldn't believe Shilpa is just crushing it week over week over week. Initially, I thought she was just not going to do this, and then she's crushing it. I have to do now. I said, that's the right motivation.
Yeah, first 2 seasons he was not at all interested, but then when he saw me training and doing good, and my fitness level increased, that's when he started
I'm
thinking
sure
about
he
it.
is thinking, like, people will start telling that
And
I have two daughters
now he's
instead of
loving
one.
it.
So that is the real thing, Anand. Good one. Good call, man. But welcome, Shilpa. Thanks for that beautiful story.
Thank you.
Let's invite the third guest.
Hello, fellow runners. This is Nilima. It's a pleasure to be here sharing my experience with RHWB. I was born in Mumbai in a typical middle-class family where the focus was on education. Sports was never a part of life. In fact, sports was only what we watched on TV. So, and also growing up, I wasn't a very strong child. I had some asthma, so I was very protected. After graduating my school, I did my physical therapy, which was the best decision that I ever I took, and becoming a physical therapist opened various opportunities to me. I came to US in 2000, I mean 1989. It's been a while. On H1 visa. I started working. I came to Illinois, started working in Illinois. And after getting my license, I met my future husband, moved to tri-state area, and have had 2 kids. My daughter is she is a gynecologist with the Army, and my son is electrical engineer. He's 25 years old. He works for a cybersecurity company. My husband is electrical engineer. He works for New York City Transit, and he enjoys playing tennis, outdoor activities. We enjoy as a family going hiking, going for walks, going camping, those kinds of things. And I've been fortunate as being a physical therapist. I had the privilege to work part-time while raising my kids. As kids got older, I started taking care of myself, getting involved in more, staying active, took a full-time job, I worked with special needs kids in a school district, and started focusing on my fitness.
That's awesome. That's awesome, Nilima. Guys, physical therapists, as it is, are really, really important members of the society. Especially in Runners High Group, they are worth their weight in gold. So I'm going to, like Nilima, on behalf of you, I'm going to say if there are any questions, people can feel free to ping you in case you have any, roadside sort of assistance kind of help you can give for people.
Yes. Even though I don't work in sports medicine area, but I will always try to help you guys out.
Absolutely. Just even if you can point them to the right place itself, yes, is a good, direction.
Sure.
Awesome. Welcome, guys. Welcome, ladies. So special, all of you. There are a lot of things in common with these 3 ladies. We'll soon realize. But one thing that I didn't realize before, that I know that all 3 ladies were very good in finding their life partners. Very nicely. Another nice commonality that is coming up here. Good stuff, guys. Good stuff. So let's peel this layer of onion, one or 2 layers more. Let's understand your journey. All of you have been, it sounds like, you've been a little bit athletic here and there. You've done some things here and there. So how come you got into running? What led you to get into running? That is an important momentous decision, as we all know by now. So let's start with you, Shilpa. How did you get into running?
So I had been working out for the past 10 or 12 years, after my daughter was born. And I had been loving it. But then once, I had a knee surgery, and I was told that, I shouldn't be running at all, So that's why I thought, let me just continue my, workout, and then COVID happened. So, we are very close friends, Deepak and Moni. They had been trying to talk us into getting into running, but I was like, no, it's not for us. I've never tried running. I tried to run a little bit, but I got so tired. It's not for me, and my doctor recommended not to run at all, so I don't want to try it. But then after a few months, I thought, okay, anyway, the gyms are closed, there's nothing much to do. Let me just give it a shot. The worst that can happen is, while running, if I get hurt, I would just walk it out. So that's how I started with the app, because before committing to a program, I wanted to see if I could run at all. So I started with that C25K app.
Yeah.
And I slowly I was able to do a 5K. And then I thought, okay, that gave me some confidence that, okay, it's not that bad, let me try a longer distance. And that's how I signed up for running for this group, in this group.
Signed up for a half marathon, the first
half marathon. Yes, because I had already done a 5K, and I think I tried a 10K. I was super tired. I didn't know, how to, somehow I made it to the finish line. But I thought, a good training program with with good, guidance would really help me.
Yeah,
And that's how I got into this. And I'm so glad that I did it. And one good thing was, the knee surgery, it never really bothered me. So I was like, why didn't I run all these years? I just, spent away all these years thinking that it's not good for me.
Absolutely. I mean, it's just so classic, right? First of all, two things I get out of the story, right? One is having good friends in life is always a very good thing. Somebody who is telling, go and do it, like, so there should be someone to push you to the unknowns, push you to a little bit of a discomfort area on a positive side. There can be discomfort on the negative side too, but good friends will push you on the positive side. So that's a good thing. I'm glad that you had Coach Deepak and Moni do that for you at the right time. Second thing is, in life, I feel that time to time, it's always good to challenge the status quo. That's a lesson that I've seen coming again and again from these runner stories. Don't accept your status quo as a given. Just because there was a knee and just 9 years has gone by and then you accept it, and then next for 35 years, just because you had a knee issue 9 years ago, is not a good enough reason to not challenge that status quo. Things change. Body changes. Body adapts. Yes, that could have been a good reason 9 years ago. Take my own example. I had a L5, L6 injury so bad that I was slip disc and I couldn't walk without a walking stick. There was a time in my life where I can't walk without a walking stick. Now, if at that point, if somebody came and told me that one day you will not only become a full marathoner, you will start coaching people, probably that is the only time I will take out the walking stick and just laugh for some time and then take back my walking stick, So it is all about that, the conditions and rules that apply to one part of your life doesn't mean it is going to be the same for your rest of your life. There has to be challenging the status quo that needs to happen. In fact, that's what I believe these New Year resolutions are all about that. It's about going back and trying to do a challenging the status quo a little bit. Let's do a dieting, let's do that, let's do this. These are all challenging status quo. Some people are successful, some people are not, but you should continue to challenge the status quo. So that's a great thing I learned from you, and that's something everyone should do. All of you runners, if you're here, you have decided to challenge the status quo, especially new runners. Now, just because you're here doesn't mean you already challenged the status quo. Challenging the status quo is you have to go through this. You have just done 1 week. There is going to be body is going to tell you, what did you do? You have this pain, that pain, you have winter, you have, schools, you have colleges, new year starting, more work. Forget about all that. Look at these ladies. They challenge the status quo and look where they are. That's what you need to do. Thank you, Shilpa, for that great story. Shubha, what about you? How did you get into running?
All right, I'm standing up for this one.
I hope you don't run away.
No. It's actually ice on the road. Otherwise, I would. I think, COVID has definitely played a role in most of us starting the running journey. But I was not completely new. I have been running, but my running has been just limited to 3 miles. That was just enough for my, kicking up my cardio journey. And I would do like a couple of miles a week, and I was happy with that. Then my husband turned 50 in December 2020. So for that month, I wanted to run 50 miles for him. Nice. So I ran 50 miles, but I kind of dragged myself because I was doing everything else. I was doing strength training, I was doing tennis, I was doing yoga, and I added a couple of miles, but I was just, I didn't enjoy that part. I shouldn't tell that, right? He should know that. But anyway, I just did it for the sake. And then I am actually, like, to your point, Bala, I am surrounded with runners who put crazy miles. Yeah. So someone told me, don't run yourself ragged. Do a little bit of, 3, 3, and 6 in a week. So that was 6 was big deal for me. 6 miles was big deal. I ran that couple of weekends and I was all right. Then I ran the 10K with you guys in April. Tej introduced me. I wasn't part of the season, but I just ran on the trail. And I was so happy because I remember when I finished, Dr. Raghu was there. And he said, oh my God, you did so well. You didn't even train. You came and ran. And little bit of words of encouragement like that, I'm like, oh, this group is a cool cool group of people. I would want to be around them. I want to run with them. And everyone was very supportive. And that 6 miles was a marathon for me at that time. I mean, that is the longest. I was not huffing and puffing, but that was like a comfortable. And when I signed up, I told, I think I told you, Bala, or my coach, I'm like, I'm signing up for my half, but I might not do it. I might just do 10. Are you okay with that if I pull myself back? Oh, yeah, that's sure. That's not a problem. So that's how I got into running. But I'm telling you, so one of my running friends always said this to me, and it has stuck. The time with nature is the time that nothing else can replace. And I have taken that to heart. I can tell you that, as like yesterday we ran in brutal 20-some degrees weather, but the time with nature is something that you can't replace. So I'm loving that.
So beautifully said. So beautifully said. Thanks, Shubha, for that. So first of all, so cute of you to do that 50 miles for your husband. That's so sweet and so nice. Doctor is very lucky to such a nice, loving wife to do that. There is one learning there, guys, for other runners. One way of motivation, and this is almost a well-documented fact, is that you dedicate your run on some cause or something. That is a huge motivator. A great example, Shubha just gave one example from her own life. That's why you will see a lot of runners, they do run for cancer, run for, so there will be some mega big cause, and then they dedicate that. There are two reasons for that. One is human beings, fellow runners, understand what it takes to run. So when someone dedicates a hard-earned effort on something else, that person has a stature among peer humans, and they are able to get charity. So that's why when they dedicate it and they say that, hey, I'm running for breast cancer for charity, if we can give some charity, and they'll be a lot more successful because there is that connection. The respect is given from one runner to the other runner, and runners give. I'm sure you have done a lot of charity for fellow runners too, for that cause. So the new runners, why I'm bringing that up is, dedicate your runs, especially for the first time, dedicate your run for something much bigger than just your own self. That is a huge motivation for you to go ahead and finish the season. Okay, I'm giving you all these are additional tools for you to finish the season, especially new runners, because you are going to face the maximum sort of roadblocks for you to go ahead and finish it. Every time there will be this nice thing that maybe I should just drop off because of some good reason, right? So I'm giving you more and more sort of rubber bands to connect to your final goal so that you don't drop off that easily. So that's the one thing I got out. I hope you got out of Shubha's story. The second thing is, when you finish a race, or when you finish a distance, a goal distance, the natural reaction to that is that your body gets into the state of exuberance, like how she finished 6 miles, 10K, and said, boy, I never thought I could do that. It was like a half marathon for me. And then you saw some people supporting her, and then boom, she suddenly goes into the next phase. This is a classic runner's high situation. Okay, so I want all of you to get into these runner's high situation. That's why the name of this club is Runner's High. Okay, so when you are starting your running journey, have a goal. That goal could be 1 mile. Right now, if you have only done 0.5 miles, have a goal. I want to do 1 mile. And imagine when you finish the 1 mile, think about recognize how you feel after that 1 mile. That is Runner's High. That will take you and make you come back again and again, like what has happened with me for 16 years now. Okay, that's that second sort of tidbit that I want to get out of Shubha's story. Thanks, Shubha, for doing that. Nilima, how about you, Nilima? How come you got into running?
Yes, I mean, I really want to say something about Runner's High. When I finished that first 1 mile, I got that high that I felt so confident and that seed was sown. And then, so what happened was prior to COVID, I used to go to gym to stay fit and active. And when COVID happened, gyms closed down. So I started going for long walks with my friend. And while I was, was doing regular walks, I said, you know what, let me try running, because running was kind of, always interested me. I wish I could run. So I said, let me try. This is a good time. So I started running, and it took me about 4 to 5 weeks to be able to complete one round around that lake. And when I finished that one round, I was so excited, and I felt so so much confidence in myself. I said, oh, I could do this, and that seed was sown. And I was like kind of, thinking about it. And one day I happened to, while I was visiting my sister-in-law, we were talking about running, because she's also part of this group. And so Julie was, we were talking about her run injuries, and I was asking her, how she's recovering from injury. And then she happened to mention about the new season starting. I said, wow, you know what? Let me try. It was October. I got the information, and I said, you know what? I am going to try. And I was skeptical at that time, because I wasn't sure what I'm going to be able to do. I said, you know what, but it doesn't hurt to try 5K, and I said, I have to take that, I don't want to be in the state where, put limitations on myself. So I decided to take that step, and rest is history.
Is that one of your best decisions in your life in terms of?
I totally agree. I would have never imagined myself, running. Forget running half marathon.
Yeah,
so that was the greatest decision. Yes.
Now you guys are professional runners, professional half marathoners. It's just amazing. It's a fascinating story. So many things resonate with me when you say all of these things. So Shubha, let's go back to you now.
Okay.
You got into running now. You got into the season. As I say, like getting into season is the easiest part. Making the decision is important, as we just discussed, but just making the decision means nothing if you have to follow through that decision. And that's where the wheat gets separated from the chaff. And that's where you guys did so well. So maybe why don't you, reminisce your season, and maybe come up with a few points, highs and lows of the season as you see it.
Well, definitely. So this is my second season. So last season was my first. And if you remember, Bala, oh my God, I had a ton of questions, right, for you, because I was running. I just got up and ran. I didn't know the science behind it and anything, especially this group, you run based on heart rate here. And I was not used to that at all. And there was so much information, but that is the part I loved. I love these podcasts, and you have an ability to debunk so many myths and your, problem solving strategies. I loved all the, I'm a very diligent person once I start something. So I consumed all that information, and I stuck true to the training plan. So whatever it was strength training, it's starting with 2. In fact, I overdid a couple of miles. I know you said, oh my God, slow down a little bit here. You don't need to go that far already. But the information was awesome. More than that, the camaraderie. One of the assistant coach this time is Indu, and she was a huge support for me. A lot of the women here were huge support. My thing that I got from the season was the long distance. As I said, mine was, 10K was the farthest. I remember when the plan came, it was 7 miles. And it's, your mind plays all kinds of tricks, right? It's like, oh, 7 is like 1 mile more than 6. But you think, oh my God, I've never run 7. How would I do that? And I remember we were in California on vacation, and Kumar and I ran together, and he ran the last 2 miles with me. Like, oh, you got it. It's 7. It's just a mile extra. Don't even think about it. Then when I finished the new PR, new distance for me, oh my God, I felt like I climbed Mount Everest. I mean, it was now thinking, what is it? It's 10% more than 10-mile run, right? A little over that. But that gave me so much of confidence. And then next time came around 8 mile. The long distance was the hardest, but now that's what I enjoy the most. That's my takeaway from the season. I would, don't, even if it's daunting, don't give up on the distance, however, if maybe, and I loved new strategies like banking, and your daughter did a great podcast on that. And I took all these little pieces of information like cookie crumbs, and I tried what works, and then the nutrition part, the hydration part, each one of that added so much to my experience and made the running journey so much more enriching. So then I was listening to a recent podcast. Somebody said, if you run even a couple of miles, you're a runner. The pace and the distance should not dictate that you're a runner or not. So I take such great pride. Yeah, I'm a runner. Whether a half mile, half marathon was a new distance for me, but not as it is journey, right? We all agree it is a journey. The people I met, the information that I learned, and my own personal growth in this journey is what I'm so very proud of. So that's all credit to Runners High with Bala, with the program that they run so diligently. And for runners who are doing this for the first time, you get what you put into it, right? So I got a lot because I put my true self into it.
That's so nice to hear this, Shubha. Man, there are so many gold nuggets in that. And I think I can do one more full podcast on many of the things that she said. But let me at least summarize a couple of nuggets. I want to make sure that it doesn't get, people, you don't gloss over that. First nugget, asking questions. She asked a lot of questions, and that's a great thing. That just tells me that this runner is serious about what she got in. She asked questions, and those questions were not like frivolous questions. Those were serious, real doubts that she had. Hey, are you asking me to run slow right now? But how will I, if I run slow, how will I run fast? And those are all good core running theory questions. And credit to her that she asked the questions, went over the material, thought about it. These are the, almost like a model runner characteristics. That's what I want you all to do. There's a reason why we're giving all of these materials, so that I want you guys to think about this. This is not something just, optional thing. You've gotten into a training course, which is a structured training course. This is all part of the structure. So that's the first nugget. Ask questions, think, be inquisitive. Second, you heard that she was in California for a vacation, but she still ran. Very, very, very important, right? Running is not work, guys. Running is fun. That's why the third pillar is having fun. So even when you're on a vacation, you can run. Shilpa, where are you right now?
I'm in India right now.
How long have you been in India now?
This is my fourth week.
Fourth week. She's in the US, just so you know, she's in the US, as you've seen in the introduction. Have you been running in India?
Yes, I have. I didn't stop, though it's not on schedule. Like, I try to finish runs that week. The days get, mixed up,
Point is you run.
But, yes.
You don't let it go.
And if I don't, it doesn't let me sleep at night.
That's the attitude here, guys. That is, the running is primary. After that, the life happens. It should not be life happens, all the other reasons are satisfied, and then you do running. It's running first, because it's about investment in your own self, guys, which is what is more important than investing in your own self. You have spent all your life taking care of your husbands, wives, kids, parents. It's time for you to take care of your own body. That's what running is all about, and connect with nature. So that's the second nugget from Shubha. The third nugget on Shubha is what we talked today in this week's weekly podcast, weekly coach message, which is controlled overload. That's what training is about. At 6th mile, 7 miles is an overload for her. But she went and did that and got herself strengthened to a 7th mile. And then the next milestone is now 8th mile. That's how she got to the 13-mile distance. At mile 6, if somebody had asked her to go and run 11 miles, one, she probably wouldn't have done it. Even if she forced herself to do, she would have gotten injured, and that would have been the end of her running journey. That is the controlled overload portion. And that's exactly what she explained from her actual experience of the theory that I just spoke with during the weekend. So thanks again, Shubha, for bringing many of those nuggets. Nilima, what about you? How was your season?
season, yes, my first season, I signed up to run 5K. And Julie had told me that, when you join the group, Bala is very particular about the training schedule and you wanted to stay, keep up the training. And I said, okay, I was kind of pressured, but I followed the training, I followed the schedule. And first mile was very challenging. And as I started following the training, one day, I think it was middle of the, maybe first mesocycle or middle of the second mesocycle. I said I was supposed to run 2 miles. And I wanted to see whether I can, somehow I wanted to try. And I said, let me push myself. And I finished 3 miles. And that's when it kind of, dawned to me that, oh, you know what, I can do this. And then you messaged me saying that, oh, Nilima, you're doing so great, why don't you up your the race goal, and why don't you run 10K? So for first season, instead of running 5K, I finished my 10K. And it has been, the whole group has been so inspiring, and the whole training has been so to the dot, like it has helped me grow and, build my physical abilities and stamina and develop the confidence. So, it was a big surprise that I managed to finish 10K in my first season.
And then second season, you did a half marathon, isn't it?
Yes. Then I signed up for a half marathon. Yeah. And the other thing is that thanks to Shilpa, after we were about to finish our, race day run, and she was thinking about running Philadelphia marathon. And I wasn't even aware of, that it was happening after 4 weeks. And when she said, you know what, we should try Philadelphia, I said, oh, sure, it sounds a great idea. Maybe I should, because who knows what will happen next season, let's try it and let's get that experience, So thanks to Shilpa, I signed up for Philadelphia half marathon. And you supported us, and it happened. It was a great experience going all the way there to Philadelphia in that big crowd. So it was great. Thanks to Shilpa. And of course, Shubha was there with us. So, it was a great experience.
Think about this. Think about this, runners. These three ladies, another commonality I was telling you, right? Now let's bring that commonality out. These three ladies, let's talk with Nilima first, since she just shared her story. She went from running that one small round on that lake and feeling as if she was, sort of achieved something unbelievable. Just about 8 months ago, or it's not like, she 25 years ago. It's just about 8 months ago, I think, right? If not, I think it's 8 months ago. That first run.
Yes.
From that point onwards, in just 8 short months, who is not an athlete before? Okay, it's not as if she has run in college, high school, and all that. She just heard from her. She's never been athletic. She's all about studies, and then she just does the first round in lake, feels good, and then long story short, this lady signs up for a 5K. Within 4 weeks, she realizes she's far better than 5K, so she gets into 10K. And then within 3 months, she says, you know what, let's go into half marathon. And then after 5 months, she says, one half marathon is not enough. Let me go in the professional way and just go and do a full half marathon again in Philly just after 1 month. I mean, this is just a mind-blowing explosion. If you look at a life curve, it's like a curve goes like this. Suddenly it takes a left turn and then boom, it goes into a hockey stick somewhere else. That's the curve we are looking at. What happened here? What really happened here? What happened here is, a decision was made, and she had the guts to be committed to the decision. Commitment. It's all about commitment. One is to make the decision. The other is to lay committed to a decision. And that's what these ladies did. And that's why they're here. So inspiring. I have goosebumps when I say this. Thank you, Nilima. Shilpa, what about you?
Yeah, so when I joined, Runners High with Bala Group, I decided that I'm gonna, commit myself to this program and do all the training and the runs, on schedule. And I tried to do almost all of them. I think I've been a pretty good student of
course.
yours. Um,
All three of you.
so
Another commonality.
so one um, yeah, all these podcasts that you had been doing, I've and the walk with the coach series, I always took notes and tried to implement that in my own running, which definitely helped me understand the science behind the running, and the nutrition, and how to increase your how should I say, fitness level by doing it slowly. At first, I thought running was all about speed, run as fast as you can. But then slowly I learned that it's not just about that. It's about the conversational pace and, everything. So all these learnings I was able to put into action. So that was a great experience. So just one of the low keys, that happened that 1 month into the program in the first season, I had to go to the ICU. Um, and the doctor recommended that I shouldn't be running for two weeks or so. But even in the ICU, I kept thinking about, oh, I missed my midweek run. How am I going to do it? When am I going to do it? I don't want to fall behind in the schedule. And then I think I was able to just resist myself for like just 3 or 4 days, and then I started catching up. It was I like the program so much. And yeah, so the second season was pretty straight because I knew what was coming, and I just followed it right up to the through the T. So that was a great experience.
Amazing, guys. And
Yeah.
I see a full marathon, just for the record, I see a full marathon in all three of you at some point in your life. We'll keep that as a point in time. That as a coach, I said this, and then let's see how a life curve goes. But the mental attitude you have for running, all three of you, is what I'm saying. There is a possibility that you can even go for that after a couple of half marathons from now.
Also, I wanted to highlight one thing, that the support that we got, I got from the group, it was amazing. And the encouragement words that we received when we put our humble brags, in the group, it it was just so amazing that it would, give you more, encouragement to do even more, do
Yeah,
even better.
absolutely.
So I'm so thankful to our community, runners community. Yep.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Wonderfully well said. Well said. Kudos to the community. Okay, so let's begin to bring this podcast home. But I wanted to ask you. We'll start again with you, maybe Shilpa. Few words on your race day experience. I know that you had a Philly experience. You had a RHWB experience. Why don't you go
Mhm.
ahead?
So race day, the first season, I would say I didn't sleep the night before.
Yeah.
I was so worried because the maximum I had run was 10 miles during the training. And I was like, how am I going to run 3.1 extra miles? I've never done that. Um, so, I couldn't sleep the night before. And then uh, I kept tossing and turning. But then the day, when the day began, I was all set. I reached there, on time. And then I still had, butterflies in my tummy. But I kept, recalling all the podcasts, that I had gone through, I had heard, listened to. And they all, I kept telling myself that just put one step in front of the other, and don't think about the miles,
Yeah.
just keep, uh, putting one step in front of the other. That should take care of it. And yeah, so when I finished the 13.1 miles, it was amazing. I never thought in my life I would be running a half marathon. So it was a great experience. And then the party that we had, the lunch and the medal ceremony, it was just amazing. I don't think I've ever received a medal in sports. So I was so proud to show off my first ever medal in life, sports medal.
Yeah, I know.
Yep.
It's so special indeed.
Yeah, and my Philly marathon was another great experience because that was my first in-person
Yeah.
race. Amazing. Nilima and I ran together. We met Shubha as well. Um, uh, and I noticed that, even though our RHWB race, the the whole thing was smaller in scale, right? But it was so much similar to the bigger experience. So thanks to you, Bala, that you gave us that experience. Even during COVID times, it was amazing.
Thank you. Thank
Yep.
you. As I said, it's a poor man's experience, but still it's still a lunch. It's still a lunch, poor man's lunch, but it's still a lunch. Awesome. Good stuff, Shilpa. I'm so glad. Congratulations. Shubha, how was your experience on the race day?
Like Shilpa said, right? I mean, we did two. So Kumar always makes fun of me saying that I'm a typical convent educated girl because I follow everything to the T. If you give me a plan, you better believe I'm following it. So, you had a PowerPoint presentation before the race. I took notes. I had everything, the week leading to the race. I did exactly what I was told, the amount of, noon that I should take, and the kind of, whatever, the carb protein breakdowns, and the dinner before the race, and the nutrition during I had everything packed, all my little, chewies and the goose and everything. And so I was prepared. And then I have to say this, for other people also, that I don't know how the body works. I had this major, not major, annoying calf pain leading to the race, the week. So I talked to Bala, what the hell is this? It's like I was doing so well. And then here I am, a week away from it. What am I going to do? And even 5 miles was causing me so much pain. But I talked to my coach. I talked to my husband. They're like, you'll be fine. Just go with it. And I tried not to worry. The previous night, I'm like, I just hope this calf muscle doesn't bother me. And then I know Deepak said some kind of, different kind of massages. I tried every trick in the bag so that I will be perfect on the race day. Lo and behold, I think God answered my prayers. Not one pain on the race day. And I enjoyed thoroughly. So I had this whole, Bala, this may be a rookie strategy, but like Shilpa said, the minds were daunting me. So I tried not to count. What I did was, in my mind, I planned a stack of 4 miles 3 times.
Good.
So I would only count from 1 to 4. Then I would go back to 1. So this is your second stack, mile 1. Okay. The math engineer in me helped with that. Yeah. So this is second stack, mile 1, mile 2, mile 3. And this is third stack. And the last mile was, like you said, kitchen sink. Yeah. So I went all out for it. So and then I didn't feel. And then each mile I dedicated when it got hard. I saw all these posters on the trail. So tricked myself to finish that. It was absolutely an amazing experience. Just loved. And then I signed up for Philly mainly because Kumar and I, that was our first half marathon, and we were celebrating our 25th anniversary. And what better way, right, than to run a half together? And I think about 8 of my friends ran together. And that was just another amazing experience. I had I have to brag, a 15-minute PR. But I think the only reason that was because I was such a happy runner. I posed at every photographer on the trail. I gave them a thumbs up, threw my arms up in the air. My pictures were the best, I think, because I was so happy running. Every mile, I don't think you could, I wished everyone who wore those happy birthday t-shirts, hey, happy birthday, enjoy your run. And this, I just thoroughly enjoyed that run. And then I think there were people, oh, there was a little hill. I'm like, what hill? I was so happy running. But I think it was the whole preparation. I took everything seriously. Don't miss any of the runs. And if you do, for some, health situations and things like that, don't fret. You can always make up, and it's not, just get back on the track and finish the process. I think my race, I'm looking forward to doing a couple of more. I have to say that, I know in the beginning I said I was running 3 miles. I clearly remember running for 5 minutes was like, geez, how do people do this and still love it? It was not an enjoyable experience. But now I can say, when I lace up, when I go out, it doesn't matter what the weather is. I know might not be the fastest runner in the block. I don't think I will ever be, but I am the happiest runner you come across.
That's the
And
key.
I enjoy doing that. And then, puts a smile on my face. And that's what matters at the end of the day.
That's the key. Beautifully said. I mean, it's again a lot of nuggets. I just want to say one thing on that pace thing, right? I mean, what is fastest here? Like, first of all, we are not amateur, we are not professional runners, right? Secondly, I mean, what is speed? Speed is relative, right? Let's say you hit, unless you want to be Kipchoge, which is nobody ahead of you, there's always going to be somebody ahead of you. So I might as well be somebody ahead of me when I'm at 2:45, half marathon, as opposed to crushing myself almost about injury, and then I hit 2:15 and then still see somebody ahead of me. There's always going to be somebody ahead of me, right? So it's always related to your own self. Pace is related to your own self, and fun and having that happiness that you talked about is more important when you do the run, especially as amateur runners. So fantastic sharing. Nilima, what about you?
So I totally agree with Shubha. I was very sincere, following all the instruction, all the training, always did everything, strength training, followed the routines. I did do my long runs even when I was on vacation, enjoyed the destination runs. I got to run on Riverwalk in San Antonio, ran in Austin, so that was fun. So, the race day went without any hiccups. When I did my first half marathon, the last couple of miles was challenging, but I remember Deepak's, the message that he had put out after he finished his ultra marathon, that, last few miles, he just kept focused, kept his mind calm and meditative. And that's what I kept focusing on. And I finished my first half marathon sub 3. And I was really, happy with that. With Philadelphia Marathon, I did find the difference because I wasn't training as sincerely during those 4 weeks after my first half marathon. So I did see the difference. It got challenging last couple of miles, and I was a little doubtful whether I will be able to finish it, but I managed to finish it. So the lesson was to not to take training lightly. You got to keep up with the training throughout, no matter what, even if you have done it once, it's always, you have to keep up the training. So,
Absolutely.
It was very exciting to finish the Philly half marathon and having that true experience. And I do agree with Shilpa saying that, our RHWB race day is almost similar to, we get that similar experience as the regular marathon. So
thank you for saying
but
that.
Yes.
Thank you. So what are your PRs, Shubha? What's your PR for half marathon right now?
I had a 15-minute PR from my first to the Philly. I think 2:40.
2:40. By the way, guys, PR, for those of you who are uninitiated, PR is personal record. So what is your maximum or the minimum speed, minimum time you're taken for a race, a distance? That's what is called a PR. Is a very common term. 2:45. 2:45, you said?
2:40, I think.
2:40. Fantastic.
Yeah.
What about you, Shilpa?
It's 2:43.
2:43.
So first season it was 2:53, and then I shaved off 10 minutes, so 2:43.
Fantastic.
Yep.
And Nilima?
I think I shaved up about 3 or 4 minutes during Philly. Mine is, I think, 2:50, around that. I don't remember the exact number, 2:50 and 2:44 or something.
Brilliant. I mean, think about
I think I did Philly at 2:50, 2:49.
2:49.
And it was 2:52 for the race day at RHWB, yes. So I shaved up a couple of minutes.
Running almost for 3 hours continuous.
Yes.
I mean, like Shilpa was saying, 5 minutes was excruciating. Here you are not only running for almost 3 hours, but actually enjoying it and taking pictures and having fun. That's what running is all about. That's how body is, shaped up for all of you. One more point I wanted to say. this is about that mental fatigue. Okay, so all these three runners, they finished the runners high marathon, and within a month they went and did a Philly marathon. And physiologically, your body is ready. You can do like every week 1/2 marathon, actually, if you want, because your aerobic fitness is there. You can totally do that. The only issue is mental fatigue, because that's where you realize that there's an art and science to this running, right? So you want to go and enjoy every run, every half marathon you do, and that not just the half marathon, but the journey to the half marathon should also be enjoyed. You remember, I always talked about the journey is more important than the destination. So that's why, while I don't actively discourage anyone to just go and do runs, in this case it was special because they wanted to do an experience, like a 25-year experience or a first face-to-face in-person race. These are all to be experienced. Unfortunately, they are all COVID class runners. They've never had that experience, exposure before. So I only actively encourage them. But in general, one thing I want you all to consider is that when you are thinking of running as a long-term 10, 15-year kind of an innings, which is what I want all of you to consider, because that's when you have life, health, and we are all in that nice zone where our health is should go better. So at that time, you need to provide some rest for your mind. Otherwise, it gets fatigued with the continuous, training regimen. So that's why we always have the season, and then there is a break, and then there is another season. So, and something for you to think about is that after you get yourself satisfied with 4 or 5 medals of in-person races as you do, but when you settle down to the long distance, like a steady state, think of 2-3 solid races a year that you train for with a proper journey. Okay, that's what you should do. Then that becomes sustainable, and then you will get, you'll get experience at the same time. You'll enjoy every race that you do. That's just a suggestion from my side. Wonderful, guys. I can't imagine. We have almost went through a good amount of time just discussing. It just flew by. So let's bring it home, and let's just go around the horn. Short words of wisdom for new runners from all of you. And let's start with Shubha.
Oh, okay. I think we covered a lot of ground. For new runners, or even people who are planning to tackle new distances this season, I think we all said the same thing: stay the course, take the training seriously, and respect the sport. Because I'm sure I've heard people, you've heard people, I've had friends, oh, I just got up and ran this long distance, and probably they just do it once and they have such traumatic experience after that and will never attempt to do it. Why? Because they probably didn't have a plan in mind, and they didn't, there's no plan. So what are they going to execute? Just on sheer adrenaline and willpower, right? But this is something I think and the information that I got over the last season has equipped me to safely run the distance that I want to run and enjoy the distance and still be in good health, injury free. Then I can do it over and over again. That is what I have understood, I have learned. And so if you follow the training plan, if you follow the advice and have, communicate with your coach, and I think that is the end result. Correct me if I'm wrong, Bala, is that you should be able to enjoy the sport, do at your best, and be sustainable and do it over and over again.
Absolutely. Respect the sport. That's a key point there. Well said. Shilpa?
I would say don't underestimate the strength training, because we think that, oh, it's all about running, but it's the strength training that gives you the power to do better every time. So don't bail out on that. Don't skip that strength training. And believe this program, like it starts off slowly, but then it takes all the way up, and I'm sure that even though you might have doubts in your mind about how you're going to do it, I'll go all the way. I can guarantee that you can do it. If I can do it, then you can do it too. And another thing would be don't overdo it. That takes out the fun of enjoying the runner's high. So just following the program up to the T, that should work wonders for you.
Absolutely. Well
Yep.
said. Well said, Shilpa. Nilima?
I agree with both Shubha and Shilpa. And one more thing I would like to add is don't feel shy of taking challenges. You know, unless you take up challenge, you're never going to get better. So, you know, no matter what, don't accept status quo and believe in your capabilities. You know, we don't underestimate your physical or mental abilities. You know, the more you challenge, better you're going to get.
Beautiful.
And be sincere and be dedicated to whatever challenges you take.
Absolutely.
You will always succeed.
What a blistering end to an hour of fascinating discussion with you, Iron Ladies. Guys, thanks a lot for inspiring me. Let's start with that. I've seen you grow. And as I hear you talk, I just realize how much you have come far, how much like distance you have come in such a short time. And I can see how far you will go from here, given the solid sort of base of not just physical, but also mental acumen on how to make this happen. So thank you for inspiring us. Thank you for your achievements. And thank you for your time and also your thoughts on sharing with not just me, but with the rest of the community. So thanks a lot, guys, and enjoy
Thank
the rest
you.
of your weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bala.
Bye.
Bye.